we need to complete the set of relational operations. The relational operations that we've gone over so far, and these are in the playlist linked below the like button in the description. We have selection, projection, union, intersection, minus, and join. We've done all of this, and now we're putting it together here. Any other relational algebra expression can be expressed by a combination of these 5 options. There's more out there as well, but these are the ones that we're going to be going over in this series. So an example that we have is something like this. And this is combining them together. We can see that we have joint conditions, we have this, I forgot exactly what it is, but it is in the notes if we are to scroll up into a specific section. And then we have our multiplication here, and then we have our selection right here. So everything is together. I believe that this is a join one, if I can be exactly correct. That's like a join, and then these are just the conditions that we are joining. So we are going to be using this in our examples that we have following this, and we have 3 examples that really demonstrate everything inside of here. So this is what we're going to be referencing for this. Now the first example comes to us as retrieve the name, first and last name, and address of all employees who work for the research department. So we're gonna have to break this down. The first things first. Well, by department name, it should equal to research, right? So we want to retrieve the name and address of all employees. So we know that we're going to need the employee table. And to work for the research department, this is pretty simple. We just need the employee and department. We need the research department specifically. So if we come down here, we want to make a name. Let's just make it something simple. Research department, right? Because that's what it's going to be talking about here. We want to have this part, and remember this is the selection. We want to select out of our department the department name, and we want our department name to be equal to research specifically. And this is for our department. So we need to make a department name. The first way I would do this is we need to make a department name. We have our assignment, and then we have department. This department is where we're pulling it from. After this, we need to figure out what we need to do here. And we need to make a selection. We need to make a selection because we're selecting what kind of department this is. So we need our department name to equal research, and then we can store all of these departments inside of here. We can use Cartesian, join, natural join, but we're going to be using the just join for this one. So we need to make another name. We're going to call this research EMPS, and that's just for our research employees because we want to retrieve the first and last name and addresses of all employees who work for the research. So it's good to choose names that associate with it. So we are going to pull our research department that we have. These are the departments, all of them. And then we need to join this with our employee. Now, how do we do that? Well, with the join, we need to set 2 things equal to each other. And if we scroll up here, we have our department number equal to, or we have our department number and our department name together. We can see that department name goes to a department number. So we can see that if our department number is the same as our department name, well, that means this employee works for the research department. We start with employee, we check if the department number is the same as the department number here. And if so, we are just going to add it into our research EMPS. That's how we would do this. So we're going to put this together in here. It joins 2 tables. The research department table is combined with the employee table only when this is true. The D number DNO must match, and if they do, the result is shown in our research EMPS. And the way we would specifically put out the information we want, because when we do this, we get all of the employee data. We want specifically the first name, last name, and address. So we're going to send to our result the first name, last name, and address of our research EMPS. And this pi, remember, it is the projection. So the selection is where we're selecting something. We need to check if it equals something. Now the projection is where we're projecting specific attributes to this. So we're projecting this into here. Here we are selecting this to be this. So that is how that would work. For every project located in Stafford, we want to list the project number, the controlling department number, and the department manager's last name, address, and birth date. So there's a lot we got to do here. We're going to use the project table because for every project located in Stafford, we want to do a check here. We need to list the project number. We need to have the project table. Then we have the controlling department, so that's the department number, and the employee table. So we get all of this information, and then we're going to use it inside of here. Now, to do selection, the first thing that we want to do is selection. So with our project, which is up here, we want to see which one is for the Stafford. So with our selection, we do p location, has to be at the Stafford, and this is for our project table. And we're storing this in the Stafford projects, just a name that makes sense. Now what about controlling department? For our controlling department, we just want the department that it is under. Notice how we have our denum going to our denumber. So what we're going to do is we want to have a join, because we want to join this information to get it. So into our controlling department, we are going to assign our Stafford projects, and this needs to join the department number with our department number, because we want to join our project with the department, because that's the controlling department of this project. The department controls it. We want the department manager's last name, address, and birth date, so we kind of have to do an employee right here. And this is for the department managers. So inside, we're going to store project department manager. We have to pass in, we know we need to get the employee part. So what about this control depart? Well, actually, it should be this name, not a shortened name. It should be the same name if we haven't changed the name. And we want to join this with our manager SSN to our employee SSN. So what we need to do is we need to join here the controlling department, so everyone that works in the controlling department, with the employee. And it's going to go to project department manager. Now to do our projection, because we only want to pass specific things in, we do this pi, the specific things, we have our entity, and then we store it into our result. So that's it for that example. We have one last one to do. We want to retrieve the name, first name, and last name of employees who have no dependents. We use the employee and dependent table to find the difference here. We are going to use the subtraction also, because what we need to do is we need to have all of our employees, and then we just need to subtract it from the ones without dependents and get the without dependents. So we have all employees, and we want to store into this the SSN of these employees, because we want to actually put them inside of here. For this next one, we have our employees with dependents, so we're basically doing the same one as before. We pass in this projection here of our ESSN, so we're only passing in this information because we only need this. Notice, just for example, we're changing the name here. We don't need to do this though, but it is now going to be SSN once we're out of this. So we're passing in the dependents, and we are getting the pi ESSN of our dependents. So in here, we have our dependents, and we get the ESSN of our dependents, and we are putting them inside of here. So we're storing them into these two separate things. Now we want to do employees without dependents, so all we need to do is subtract from all employees the ones with dependents. So we get the ones with dependents right here. We get those employee social security numbers. All we do is subtract them, and then we project into our last thing the result, the first name and last name, because that's what we want, of the employees without dependents. Now note, we only have these social security numbers here, so we need to multiply it with our employees to get access to this, kind of like a parent class. We want to bring back all of that. And that's going to be it for all of this material, all of our examples. Closing this up, next we're going to look at database management systems with actual SQL.